Hello, everyone. My name is Gus.
Hi, I'm Woody.
Today we're here to finish our reaction to Dominic's video where he basically had rebreather issues the whole dive, and now he's getting to the end where he's bailing out and trying to make it to the surface.
I gotta tell you, he's really
Putting on a
good.
massive flash.
Like every time I'm having a thought about I'm about to say something of what I think I would be doing or thinking, and then he comes in and he says it perfect, and he's been really calm and really this should be something that new rebreather students watch.
Absolutely.
This guy's great.
And if you don't, by the way, just to remind people, if you don't like all the comments and the pausing and us talking about aliens, which will happen for sure, just watch the original video down in the description.
Yeah.
There's the link. Go check it out. But I don't want to spoil it, but there's aliens.
Yes, I've been saying that on Dive Talk for years, so thank you for finally admitting that I was right.
Let's keep watching.
The good news is because I've cut my dive a bit short, and also because the dive isn't really that deep by the standards of some of the other ones I've done. That gives me, it means that my first deco stop is relatively shallow. It's at 27 meters. As I ascend, I'm doing all the usual sort of stuff. You can see me here. I'm changing the set point on my handsets and my standalone off-board dive computer. So I've gone to 1.5 bar PO2 for the decompression phase of the dive, and that obviously
that's
cuts the
help off
time
gas
down a bit.
faster. You're raising your PO2, which is more oxygen.
That doesn't really become relevant because I'm not going to be staying in closed circuit for too much longer. So still hard to breathe, and actually by this point starting to get quite hard to breathe.
Wow.
So not great. Now, one of the things that I always carry with me on my dives is a set of wet notes. So effectively, some underwater note paper and an underwater pencil, so that I can write things should I ever need to. And I'm already thinking that what I need to do is communicate with the other divers. I've asked James to have a look at my loop. He couldn't see anything, but clearly there was. So what I need to do is communicate better with a diver on the deco stops and explain to them that I do have a real problem and that they need to find out what it is. So there's my wet notes. You can see I've got them out. I don't know why I've got them that close to my face, but I've got them out, and I'm going to get out and I'm going to write on them, explain I've got a problem. Writing underwater isn't the easiest thing in the world, and especially not when you've got
dry gloves
on like I've got there. You can see I'm finding it even kind of slightly challenging turning over the pages. But eventually I get it, and I'm going to write a little message on there, and then I'm going to give it to one of the other divers.
So I'll pause it right here so we can read it. It says, gas is escaping from loop. Where? What's that? Inside bot?
That looks like a leftover note, frankly. I don't know if that's part of this same note. Inside not.
Okay.
I don't know if that's part of the same. Anyway.
Pot?
But the bottom line is gas is escaping from the loop. Where? That's perfect communication.
Great.
And
now you can see there I've put the message up on the screen. With the benefit of hindsight, I think I'd probably written a bit more, be a bit clearer that I'm in. I've got some real issues with my rebreather, and I want them to concentrate on it, because I give it to this diver here. That's James. He's going to read it, and he's going to have a look at the loop, and he's going to make the same discovery.
Unbelievable.
That, the other James, who's a bit below, makes, which is that he can't really see anything. So he's having a good look over.
Oh, looks good.
Looking over my back there, trying to see if there's anything coming out, and he's going to very shortly tell me that he can't see anything.
That's crazy.
So here's a good question for you and Terry, who's watching, is what happens if you don't have a buddy? How do you check where there's a leak on a backbound rebreather, or if there's a leak on a backbound rebreather if you don't have a buddy?
Well,
Ed taught me this, by the way.
How do you check if you have a leak? on your rebreather?
Yes.
I mean, we've talked about it. Your loop volume is decreasing. You could change your position and look up.
Yeah.
Or
how do you
could
bubble
cut
check
off
yourself? That's
the
the question.
You could cut off all of your gases, and then you eliminated that it could be from one of those. You still are on the loop, right? So you can breathe, look again, or is your loop volume just decreasing by turning everything off?
Yeah.
If it's continuing to, decrease significantly, and then finally just the dive computer, man. That thing's going to drop.
So Ed told me, if you want to bubble check yourself, just invert. Go like this. Bubbles go up. If you're leaking, you will see the bubbles leaving your body, which is one of the reasons why I like chest-mounted rebreathers, like the Go, is because you can look down. Yeah. But the problem is this guy is in the back, so it's like you depend on someone else, unless you take all that thing off, which is insane.
No. I just think my natural reaction would have been to go vertical and look up. You don't have to invert. You don't have to go upside down. I'm sorry, I don't agree with that. That's extreme. Just go vertical and look. Oh my gosh, there's air coming out. I mean, you can see it.
Mm-hmm.
Simple.
Yeah.
But there's all those methods that I said.
Yeah.
Shut off your gases. Your loop volume is decreasing. Your PO2 is dropping. This is training. I mean, this is like right out of the textbook of how you would detect that.
Yeah.
Which is really frustrating and I guess kind of confusing as well.
I will lose it.
Why can't anybody see anything?
Dude, I can't breathe. What's going on? You're okay.
I know that I'm getting water in there. So there's got to be something going on here. Now what I'm going to do is fast forward another probably minute or two, and James hasn't said anything to me. So I look back down at him, and he's clearly not paying any attention to me. And there you go. He just told me there's nothing wrong with my gear.
You're okay.
Which is
Stop
really irritating
and
frustrating. So I gesticulated him, quite significantly, and say, look, there's definitely something wrong. You need to figure out what it is. You need to have a good look. So he's having another good look. I'm kind of moving around. I'm letting him have a good look because obviously I want some answers. Basically, I don't want him to be kind of going into his own personal deco space. He wants to be looking at my unit and my gear and finding out where the problem is.
That's true.
So that's what I think he's doing.
Said.
But then when I look back,
you can stop it for a second. If somebody keeps telling you they have a problem, we converge on the diver.
Yeah.
It's time for me to take care of you. I'm fine. I don't need to take care of myself and enjoy the barracuda that are swimming around. You've told me 3 times now. Once down below, another time just now on the line. This is the 3rd time you've said, I have a problem. I'm done worrying about myself unless I have a problem.
Yeah.
So I will agree with him there. Like the buddy really needs to super laser focus only on him. That's a really important point, and we talk about that in training.
Yep, absolutely.
He's not looking at me, and so
that's
so
frustrating.
This is,
I agree with him.
Communicating again with him, telling him, look, he needs to figure out what's going on. Yeah. So I guess I persisted a bit. I got there in the end because he's definitely having a good look at me this time.
But the funny part is they're not talking. They are They're on a rebreather. Why aren't they talking?
Yeah.
It's weird, right?
Yeah.
Because you can kind of understand, let's pretend, okay? So I have 3 problems. I have my rebreather here. Let me just be on the unit.
I'm going to be diving that, though, and you keep spitting in my
All right. Let's see if people can understand what I'm saying.
Hey, look behind me, look.
That's what it sounds like underwater.
Well, no, but now you tell me, you're fine.
You're okay. You're okay. That's how I would tell him he's okay. You're okay.
Shut up.
You wouldn't say shut up. You'd be like, no, dude, I have a problem. So the bottom line, though, is it's more than that. You've told me for the 3rd time. I don't need you to communicate again.
Right.
And a pet peeve of mine. We've had disagreements over this, you and I. It's okay. I strongly believe that if you're a good rebreather diver, means you're a good buddy. You've heard that.
We've disagreed about this?
Well, I'm not going to talk about the time that you only cared about murdering lionfish and where were we. Let's not revert back to that. A good buddy. I'm here. I've got you. Now think about what you said earlier is a rebreather safer. Number one, the guy's still on his rebreather. He hasn't even touched his bailout yet. Now he's got all of his bailout and my bailout. I've got
There's 3 of them.
I have a rebreather. Perfect. No problems at all. I'm not going to even touch on the deco line.
Yeah.
I got all the time in the world. You think you're going to go through all of your diluent, which you plan to have enough to get out of the worst part of the dive, or bailout, and mine? Come on.
Bro.
That's right. So they should be paying attention. By the way, no one's watching, so we might as well keep
I'm
talking.
obviously not going to sort of leave him be until he gives me a solution to the problem.
No.
So James is looking over my gear.
What is wrong?
You can see the other James. So we've got 2 Jameses. Ex-CCR James, the guy with the blue helmet, and Red Bear James, who's the guy with the Red Bear. They're both in and around at the moment. They're both having a look at me. And I'm getting something back from James now. He's trying to communicate with me, which is kind of good. So what I think I'm going to do,
I do feel that Dom could have gone down to help them,
and James can write what the problem is on the wet notes.
or they could have come up, whatever.
And once again, you're not going to be able to see what he writes on them, but I'm going to stick it up on the screen. So
Gas
you can see
escape
the
from
bottom
the
bit
way.
there is what James has written.
Inside
That's what he wrote.
He's written inside pot.
pot.
So like the
Okay. That's just the British way of saying canister.
yeah,
Okay.
the British way.
Now, I take that to mean inside the back of my rebreather, which is clearly
James,
not
what's
good news
pot?
at all. I guess one of the things that's probably worth highlighting at this point is how slow this all is. And I think it's the point I made earlier on, which is that it's very rare that something happens quickly on a rebreather. So, in fact, you can just see me there checking my diluent there, contents gauge on my diluent, and you can see I haven't got very much left at this time. I'm probably into about 20 or 30 bar, so not great. There's a message coming back to me inside the pot. So what I'm going to do now is say to him, right, I need to know a bit more than that. So what I need you to do is go inside. So he's going to come behind me, and he's actually going to take off the yellow cover on the outside of my rebreather, and I'm going to have a look inside, and then he's going to write me another wet note. But yeah, going back to that point, nothing happens quickly. So you can see here, we've got plenty of time. I am finding it really quite uncomfortable to breathe round about now. I'm having to put a lot of diluent in. It seems pretty much as soon as I put it in that it's coming straight back out. So I know there's a lot of loop in my a lot of water in my loop. I can hear it every time I breathe. And for those of you who
there's a good one to pause. So I just want to point this out. I'll use the mouse for this one. So if you notice, here is the diluent tank that he's talking about. And I know that this is not the exact unit he's diving. There's a different one. But this one has both, the oxygen and the diluent. So he's running out of this little tank. That's why he's running out of gas. And he just said that he has 40 bar left, which is like 600 PSI on this little tank. But he has these humongous bailout tanks, right? This is what he would switch to if he needed to switch to bail out from his rebreather. So this is why I was mentioning the diving rebreather is safer, because this whole unit, he's still on it. Even though he's had a problem for like an hour, he's still on the unit, and he has all these tanks left.
And let me make it even better.
Uh-huh.
Are you ready for this? This is how good the rebreather is. Burned up all of those other little onboard tanks.
Yeah.
Let's say those are empty. We already said he has a full bailout tank that he could go to just be on open circuit.
Yeah.
But how about if I extend even that bailout tank by 20 or 30-fold? Because he could turn that into a semi-closed.
Yeah.
Semi-closed. He could literally take the regulator from that bailout tank, suck in the air, the loop then goes back in his mouth, reopens the loop, blows that in, and now you can breathe that air for, I don't know, his sac rate and all that, 10, 20 breaths before having to close the loop and go back to it. So think about that.
Extension,
he has his gas, your gas, and the ability to still go semi-close as long as the flood isn't so bad that it was turning caustic.
Yeah.
have had a wet rebreather or a wet breathe,
Yeah, I mean,
you
you
know
may
just
not want
how
to go back
horrible
on
that
if it's
is.
caustic.
I mean, in this
would
case, I could
tell you
actually
that.
hear
Yeah.
the gas bubbling inside it, so I could hear when I breathed out that it was actually passing through water. So that noise, such as when you blow bubbles through water, that was kind of what I was getting. So at this point, I know I've got an hour and a half or something of deco to do. So, you know, I'm pretty confident I'm going to be bailing out
They don't
pretty
bungee
soon.
their tanks anymore.
But what I want to do is get
I'm
this
just
stage
trying to
of the investigation over with, and then
Just a little bungee.
you know confirm it's as bad as I think it is.
It's not
And
a
then
thing
I'll
in
be able to
England,
breathe
no.
out and
No bungee
get
in
on
England,
to
that's fine.
my a shallow bailout mix, and you can see here that I'm about 18 meters.
I know
So
GUE likes their tanks.
carrying two bailout
completely
cylinders.
vertical.
One
I don't-
bailout cylinder.
I know they're supposed to
is
be elite, but so that's about
is my
500.
deep bailout, so that's got a gas that I can breathe at the bottom of the dive, but won't be particularly good for breathing at this depth because it won't have enough oxygen in it. Really, it'd probably be fine at this depth, but certainly it's not going to help me with my decompression. And and if I get a bit shallow, there's a potential for it to become hypoxic. So the second gas I've got, my shallow bailout. On this dive is 50% oxygen
Yeah,
and
no
and I
problem,
think 10 or
because
20%
PO2
helium.
would not
so
be too high.
It's
Yeah.
a good gas for this depth
Definitely.
that will help me.
By the way, he's doing a phenomenal
me
job. Like
decompress, and
every
therefore,
time I'm
you know,
thinking about
help me
saying
get
something, I
close
was
to the
just
surface.
about to
But
say that.
The closer I get to the surface, I'm going to need a richer oxygen mix than 50%. Really, I want an 80 or 100%.
start watching
Now, I'm
his
not
channel.
carrying
He's
that.
really
It's
good.
unlikely that any other of the other divers with me are carrying that either.
Look, they're holding the yellow thing, the cover, the pod. They're holding it like they're dismantling this guy's rebreather, trying to find where the problem is.
Do you think that guy's with that giant camera rig is as good as my camera rig?
That's okay.
Which is right here.
Let's not.
With the dive Hulk. I just put this iPhone underwater in the dive Hulk. And
it.
you know that as much as you hate to admit it, I have at times taken photos with this just in that little dive Hulk thing.
Yeah.
And people will be like, that's unbelievable. What kind of camera and light system do
what
you have?
IMAX
And,
camera?
and for a second, I'll be like, oh, yeah, no. Like Jonathan Bird level camera system I use. Yeah, I literally went,
Click.
So our process for that is we get it off the boat. So you're going to see that later on. So you can see here I'm communicating with James. You can see that you probably saw there that the back of the rebreather's come off, and James is having a look inside, and what he's going to do is confirm that I am in a really poor place, and he does this by writing on the wet notes and handing it back to me. And as you can see, what
You
he's
are
written there
SOL.
is it's from scrubber, lots of gas. That doesn't sound like a good message.
That's not
good. And to be honest, I kind of was expecting to get something like that. So,
but
I
really,
know,
what is that message
that
at this point? Think about it.
Unbelievable.
You already know I'm leaking. That shouldn't make it worse for you. Yeah, I know. But
I get
I'm
it.
still,
There's a problem.
I'm still breathing. I'm on the loop. I know I'm leaking. That's been going on. But you're fine.
But I mean, just think about this. He's been leaking for like an hour, and he's still
He's
on
fine.
the unit.
He's still on the unit. It's
Amazing.
incredible. Hasn't even used any of his bailout gas or your bailout gas or even explored semi-close yet. It's fine.
It's great.
And he's got his
I'm not in a good
50%,
place.
so
I
he's
think
gonna
I
off
already
gas.
knew that,
Yeah.
but it just confirms
Perfect.
that what I'm going to need to do is I'm going to need to bail out to open circuit.
Fine.
Yeah.
So for those of you who don't know, that means I'm going to need to stop breathing off my rebreather, and I'm going to start breathing off one of the bailout cylinders.
Okay.
And I've already highlighted the bailout cylinder I'm going to be using is my shallow bailout. It's the
50%.
one that's got the
No problem.
50% nitrox mix.
Very
Great.
Perfect.
First things first, though.
Speaking of 50%, I'm just going to do a quick promotion on our Nitrox class, which is Nitrox Plus. It certifies you and teaches you how to use mixes up to 50%, which is pretty cool. The guy reminded me of our class. So
Pretty
check it
amazing.
out.
That
DiveTalkAcademy.com.
DiveTalkAcademy.com. Guess what? You want that Nitrox card? You can do the whole thing online with us now. Which
That's
well,
right.
I know that's industry changing, but that online analyzer that we have, pretty sweet.
Yep.
I've obviously got my wet notebook out. I've done a lot of diving with that notebook, so I'm gonna put it away and I'm gonna put it back in my pocket so I don't lose it.
It's like I'm gonna have to bail out.
By the
but
way,
Is that
you
the
know,
most important thing that
watching
I should
all
be
of this,
doing right
does
now?
that not make you love our
no.
Dive Talk Go even more? I mean, just think about all the problems and things that were going on with that unit.
Yeah.
And how good the Dive Talk Go would be in this situation, really. It's phenomenal.
Yeah, I would just look down and be like, oh, it's leaking.
Or I'm adding diluent.
Yeah.
That's the bigger one.
adding diluent.
I have to add diluent.
Yeah.
I don't have to wonder why it's adding diluent.
Yeah.
I'm adding
By the way,
diluent.
this sits right here on your chest, like this. So
Just
if
look
it's
down.
leaking,
Look.
I don't have to. James, no. Hey, James,
Yeah.
look. No, I just do this. Oh, it's leaking.
Oh, my God. It's leaking. Or how about if you really wanted to be dramatic,
Yeah.
go on open circuit, which your regulator was literally sitting here on a necklace,
Oh.
and take it off. Not forget about going upside down. Take the thing off. Clip. Oh, wow. Turn. Oh, yeah.
Oh,
wow.
I thought by being dramatic, you'd be like, look down and then be like, oh.
Yeah.
It's not
so
clearly,
beautiful.
but I think once again
Who
this just
needs all
shows probably the lack of pressure. That the time pressure is what I meant that I'm under. You know, I know that I'm going to have to bail out, but I can still breathe.
Stay on
Not
it.
the easiest breathe in the world, but there's nothing stopping me breathing. So I'm not panicking or anything here. I am just getting myself all sorted so that I can bail out in a nice orderly fashion. And then
This is like a whole rebreather class, this one video.
It's amazing.
Everyone's got their own technique for bailing out. Mine is
Listen.
kind of a slight adaptation of the drills that you would use for gas switching if you were doing, say, an accelerated decompression dive. But the first thing I've got to do is free up my mouthpiece. I dive with a gag strap or a mouthpiece retaining strap, for those of you familiar with them. So I need to unclip that. Then what I'm doing here is I'm just going through the NOTOX stuff. So I'm checking that it's my name. I'm checking the
That's important.
maximum operating depth on the cylinder that I'm using.
Awesome.
I'm checking that the cylinder is turned on. I'm getting the mouthpiece in a position that I can easily get it. I'm then going to take the loop out
Now,
of
the
my
only thing is, I would
mouth.
want you to confirm as well. We do a confirmation like Gus. I'm using this gas. This is my 50% at this depth. And you would be like, yes, I've traced that hose. Yes, we're at 70 feet or above. You're good. And the reason is, if you use that 50% gas below 70 feet, your partial pressure mathematically is going to be above a 1.6.
Yeah.
Which, at some point, if it's too high, could cause a convulsion. That's
right.
why we do this careful confirmation, which he did.
It's doing great.
Really good.
The only thing I miss is the ChatGPT voice. And then at this point.
Oh, yeah, I love that. We don't have that. Man, it's so good we
And
don't.
it's going to go above my head, and then I'm going to go on to the open circuit regulator, and I'm going to start breathing. Once all those things I've done, I'm going to make sure that I switch all my computers into
To open circuit?
mode. And when I say all my computers, that's the one that's on my handset for my
Left one,
rebreather,
right one.
and the one that's on my standalone off-board shear water that I carry on my right-hand wrist. So you can see I think I'm just about to do the gas
We
switch.
can hear the
I've positioned myself so that I'm close to the shot line. I can do this without holding onto the shot line, but sometimes it's nice to have them. Sorry, the exchange has actually happened now. You can probably see
Well, if
the
there's
the
current, you
bubbles from
better
the
not let
open
go. You
circuit
just put your
going
elbow
past.
around it,
So
Yeah.
right?
I'm
Like
just
your
making
elbow
sure
around
everything
it,
else is sorted
and
out
then you
with
can
the
have the other
computers
hand
and
free.
all
Otherwise,
that
you
bits
could
and
be
pieces.
blown off. Back.
Really nice thing about this is that my two buddies, James and James, are both clear, are both close by. They're well
Great.
aware something's wrong with me, and they're being super attentive, which is absolutely fantastic. And it's reassuring
Awesome.
in this situation to have those people around. So I have bailed out. I'm on open circuit. I've sorted out all my bits and pieces in terms of handsets and everything. So what's the next item on the agenda? Well, the next item on the agenda is going to be letting the surface know that there's a problem. And the reason I need to let the surface know there's a problem is because I want them to deploy some gas from the surface. part of our protocol.
Now, you can
is
pause
that
it there.
we have
That's
3
very interesting.
I'm
cylinders
going to pause in
on
a
board
second.
the
He's going to
boat.
explain.
There's a cylinder that you can breathe at 40 meters. There's a cylinder that you can breathe at 20 meters, and there's a cylinder that you can breathe at 6 or so meters. Now, I'm on the 50%, so I'm effectively on the 20-meter gas. So I'm not interested in anything other than really the 6-meter gas.
Yeah.
So that's the 100% that I want.
Yes.
But it isn't going to be there unless I tell the boat that I want it.
Interesting.
So that's going to be the next item on the agenda. Now you can see once again that there's no particular rush going on here. I've got a Ali 80, so an 80-litre cylinder of 50% that's going to last me at this depth for a very long time. So I'm just breathing on that. And while I'm getting myself all sorted out, I'm going to be, I think you probably just see me clipping off my torch there, and then I'm going to get out my delayed SMB. Everyone's got their own preferred configuration for these things. Obviously, finger spools are very popular these days. I don't use one. I've got a lovely big chunky Kent tooling reel. They're fantastic, and they make this kind of thing really easy. So that is going to be the thing that I get out relatively shortly. Before I do that, though, there's something that everybody on the boat laughed at me about when they got out of the water, and that's this thing here. So what you've got there is we always have a break in the shot line, and on the break in the shot line.
Yo, are we gonna pretend there's no like alien swimming around? Look at this. It's like see-through snakes swimming around. Is he not? Are we just gonna pretend that that's not a thing?
Store our devices
Look at it.
to help deco. So there's 2 things on the break. One is my Kindle, and the other thing is a phone in an underwater housing that is used by Blue Helmet James.
I've seen those
Now,
things.
everyone said to me, "Why did you get your Kindle off? Why didn't you concentrate
I've seen
on
those things.
getting your delay SMB up? Why were you even
you've seen the
bothered with
movie
it?"
Abyss. They're there to
I
help.
think it probably says something about my state of mind at this point. I was feeling really relaxed.
Whoa.
I knew I had quite a lot of decompression to do. I knew that I was in a good place, and so I thought, you know what, I'll have my Kindle with me, and at least I'll be able to read my Kindle while I'm doing the decompression. Now,
awesome.
I don't think any agency or any instructor will say that that's a particularly good idea, but hey, you know what, this was my bailout, so sod the lot of
I think
them.
it's fine.
So anyway, I've got my Kindle. I've clipped it onto my gear, and
The Abyss
James is
creatures are
obviously
there.
going to get his thing in a minute.
What's going on with the
What I'm
aliens,
then going to do is start
Care to
thinking
help.
about putting
Case
up my
things
delayed
go.
S&B. Now,
dude?
I
What
don't
is?
want to put the delayed S&B up too close to the shot line, and the reason I don't want to put it up too close to the shot line is because there's all those other people above
Right.
me. And if
Gonna
I
hit 'em.
put it up on the lazy shot, then it runs the risk of them getting entangled in it. It's also the skipper might not want to come too close to the lazy shot.
Also
to-
the
to
aliens.
drop stuff in. So what I'm therefore going to do, as you can see here, is I'm moving a bit away. I've come off the lazy shot. I'm getting myself a bit of sea room, and you can see there I've got my delayed S&B
No
out.
current. So
And,
he's
and the
fine.
protocol we follow for calling for gas is one that I think is pretty much a standard.
By the way, I would
So what I'm going to do is deploy.
want you to help me.
What?
You don't have to fire your SMB by yourself.
Right.
I love that. Like, Gus, dude,
Help me out.
come here. You unravel it.
Yeah, it's
Okay?
one of those things from.
I mean, I'll fill it up because I like to feel. I don't want you doing it where,
Right.
I'll fill it up, but we can help each other.
Yeah,
It's-
so what's-
it's not, oh my God, you helped me with my SMB. You're a bad diver.
What
Where
Woody,
did that come from?
What Woody's talking about is, for those of you who are still watching and are not divers, SMB stands for Surface Market Buoy, right? And we're sending this to the surface, inflated, so it floats in the surface and the boat knows where you are as a diver. And the goal is that everywhere this is taught as you should be able to fire these. And I do agree that especially if you're alone,
Or you could get blown off.
right, that you should know how to do it. But one of the things that I picked up from ACM, Inner Space Explorers, and I told you about this, is that they teach it that even though you could do it by yourself, and during the class that I took with them, the BOE, I had to do it solo, this could be a team effort. And the easiest part is, look, like you said, I want to inflate it, but I could be holding the spool.
Absolutely.
Go ahead and inflate it. I'll hold the spool. You fire it. Brrr, goes to the surface. I hand it to you. That's it. Team effort. How many times have you fired a DSMB and you wish you had like another arm to help you out? You're like grabbing a bunch.
There's a lot going on, and
Right.
he's got a problem.
Yeah.
So that's more conversion on the diver and helping him. No problem with that.
Do this as a team.
Now, the thing I was going to comment earlier is that if you're making a deep dive like this, we may have brought down oxygen and clipped it off at 20 feet rather than
Wait
only
to
setting
signal the
it
boat.
down if you fire an SMB.
Correct.
But that's their procedure, and I don't think there's a problem.
At
with
least
that.
they had a procedure.
Yeah.
How many dives of these are done that there's no safety
They
in place?
really did a good job
Yeah.
taking this stuff out.
An orange marker first of all, which is that big one there, and then once I've deployed the orange marker, I'm going to deploy a yellow marker after it.
Yeah.
And the combination on the surface of
That's
the
clear.
yellow
You
marker
got
and the orange marker, that the skipper now knows that he needs to send the gas down.
Yeah.
So
That's standard
and you see
worldwide.
they do that relatively quickly. So here you go. First thing is that the orange DSMB is going up. Lots of people use different
pink
things for
colour,
filling
yeah.
delayed SMBs. Some people do it with a crack bottle, i.e. small bottle attached to it. Some people do it with their regulators. I actually use the auto air on my wing on the rebreather to fill it. So anyway,
By the way, I do
gone
like
up now.
taking the regulator out,
You like to manually
push the
inflate
thing
it?
in and manually inflate it.
Yeah.
I find that to be, rather than a regulator and you got all this gear, I also agree with that. I know Akram told you that. I've always told people to do it that way.
Yeah.
I go slightly head down, so I have fins to kick down a little bit because you're about to add air in the SMB to offset that buoyancy it's going to add. And I've done that for years that way. I like that a lot.
I agree that's a
Control. Just
a
a very
proper way to
control.
do it.
Very
Very control way. What I tell everyone is, I know that there are some SMBs that even come with a CO2 cartridge that you just hit and it just auto inflates. You don't have to add air. You don't have to do anything. Whatever you do, I don't care how you do it. Practice. Most people do the open water class. They inflate it like on the surface standing in the pool. That's a standard operating procedure for like a lot of instructors. You're on the surface, you know how to inflate it. Oh, great. Put it back. We're never going to use that again. No, practice it. Whatever you do it, however you do it, practice.
That's up on the surface. Second thing I'm going to do is take off the yellow delayed SMB, and you can see me just doing that at the moment. I have them all attached.
Do it together.
So it's really easy to do.
Body
I've
up.
got a little clip there that I can put on the delayed SMB line.
For sure here.
That I'm going to send up.
It makes
now,
total
this does
sense
have a
to buddy
CO2
up. They're
canister.
sitting right there.
This
There's
one.
no current.
It's also got a way that you can inflate it off a hose.
But
should
he's
the,
doing a good
canister
job.
not-
He's
should the
totally
CO2
calm.
great.
He's
Look at that.
not
Unfortunately, the CO2 canister does work.
panicked.
So see, the second one was CO2 canister. It just hit it and auto inflates
bye-bye.
and goes to the surface.
And off it goes. So all of a sudden the boat on the surface is going to see those two symbols. It's going to see the orange delayed S&B and it's going to see the yellow delayed S&B. And I think any time a dive boat skipper sees that, they start to worry because they know something's going wrong. They don't know what's going wrong. They don't know how many divers it is. All they know is they've got to get the cylinders in the water. Now,
But he has
I guess
the
this
aliens
is another
there
good
just in
thing
case as
about
well.
being close to
him?
the lazy shot.
The aliens.
I'd have done
See how
that-
many
if
more
I-
have come?
The what?
The aliens.
Oh, the aliens are invading, bro. Look, it's
they're-
like thousands.
Descended direct off the wreck and then put up this symbol, the skipper would be concerned because he only has one set of cylinders. If he deployed the cylinders
the alien
with
invasion.
me, then they wouldn't be available should anyone else have a problem. So by doing it off the lazy shot, the gas is in the water, all the divers are there because the lazy shot's been released. So, you know, in theory, several of us could use that gas. So it's another benefit for being up on the lazy shot.
I will say,
What you've also probably seen is that my buddy James Gregory, the guy with the red bear, he's also come off and he's deployed his delayed
SMB.
SMB. So
I don't have to
he's
encourage
kinda
people.
sticking with me. So
Just
the skipper knows that I've got a buddy.
Tell us in the comment what the aliens are.
Which is obviously good.
I wanna know.
Good for the skipper. Also means that
Look at that.
should we need some more gas,
They're like alien ropes or something.
we've got loads of gas between us. So
You saw him in the
all
movie
is well.
Abyss,
And it's now
so
just a case of sitting here
be no
and
surprise.
waiting for the skipper to come over with the boat and to deploy the gas. it's all going to come down on one line, so it's a 40-metre long line with a 40-metre cylinder at the bottom of it, the 20-metre cylinder at 20 metres, and then the 6-metre gas is obviously going to be at 6 metres. Now I'm clearly at 12, so all those cylinders, 2 of them will be below me and 1 of them will be above me. You can see there what I'm. I don't know why I've let go of my delayed S&B.
I was wondering.
But I have for a bit.
In South Florida, that thing is gone.
All is well. As you can see, I've jumped forward a bit of time again. I've ascended from 12 to 9 metres, and you can see there we go.
All the aliens. That's what I can see.
Gas is now in. That black rope has got the gas on it. So that's clearly good news. I mean, it's taken a while. Maybe 4 or 5 minutes. That's how come I've come up. But the important thing is not how quickly the gas is in. The importance that the gas is in, and I've got it. So once again, it comes back to this no rush thing. So I've got the gas, and you've probably seen what I do is I clip my delayed S&B onto it. That means that we're all going to stay together, which is important, because I am going to need that gas as I get up shallower. So the gas is in. I've got it. All is well. Just a case of clearing off my deco from 9 metres, and then I'll get up to 6 metres, and then I'll be able to switch on to the 100% oxygen that is there. So there's another fast forward taking place here, and you can see I've cleared off my 9 metre
should be about
stops, and I'm
1.6
starting to ascend up the black line.
So perfect.
Towards there it is. There's the 100% oxygen
Beautiful.
at kind of 6-ish metres. James, my buddy's still with me, but unfortunately, this is probably one of the big things that I think I got wrong on this dive. One of the things I got wrong on this dive is I've allowed us to become separated from the other divers. Now you can see the viz isn't great, and that's probably why. But really, I could have focused a bit more on it rather.
You see the, I don't know if you saw momentarily, the QC6 and the quick disconnect, so you can wire your rebreather to it.
It could be a 100% oxygen rebreather.
Right, exactly.
Really extending that thing.
Yeah. I'm
just
trying to
don't
pause
know.
it.
But if he's,
anyway,
if he's
just
flooded, he probably just went on the open circuit.
Yeah.
two of us, we're alone now, and you can see I've got up here to 6 metres. There's 100% oxygen.
Beautiful.
And the next item in the agenda is going to be going through those drills again. So I'm going to check the gas on that it's 100%. I'm going to turn on the cylinder. You can see there it's 100%. Cylinder that you've just seen me turn on. I'm getting the regulator mouthpiece out, and I'm then going to do the switch. I'm also once I've done the switch, I'm going to do the switch with
My
computers as well, so that my computers, both my handset and my off-board,
Textbook.
both know that I'm on 100%. I'm also going to take the cylinder off the rope, and I'm going to attach it to my body rather than leaving it on the line where it's been dropped in, so that the gas I need is attached to me rather than attached to
Those of
anywhere
you who
else.
are still here, or Terry, you just took a whole new rebreather class with us.
That's right.
I'm going to use the opportunity to get rid of one of my cylinders that I no longer need.
I wonder how
My
many
big
made it
bailout.
to the end on this one. This one's could be even longer than the other one we were wondering about.
Yeah.
You think we have? How many people you think we have left?
I mean, I don't know. You have to make a funny comment just like this in that thing. We got to do something about the aliens, I feel like, which I don't know where they are now. I miss the aliens.
Well, once they went on 100% O2, those aliens said you're fine.
I think that was hallucination.
Although they
it
would
to
prefer
the-
that
to the
you
line
have
floating
been on
The what?
liquid. Remember in the abyss?
All right.
How you could go to thousands. They were like at 18,000 feet because they just know how to breathe liquid.
Okay.
So there's quite a bit of admin to go on there.
7 meters.
But it'll end up in the right situation, which is I'll have 2 cylinders attached to
What
me.
genome
I'll
do you
have
think
a
those
50%
aliens are from? You're good with that. Remember
The
you
what?
said at the you said at the beginning of this video how you're like a microbiologist or,
Yeah.
or a marine biologist.
That's
but those
right.
are like micro.
I'm also
Or
microbiologist.
you're both. I think you had a dual major in that, right?
I did.
So what? Like, do you know what category of species is that a derivative of?
I
do
think
you
it's
think?
like Homo elenus.
and I'll have the 100%, which are the 2 best
Is that gonna be your
cylinders for
shirt?
this kind of depth. and
I
I
support
will no longer
harmonious
have the deep
species.
bailout.
This is the dumbest show on YouTube.
We're morons if that's what you
That
want.
will be on the
yeah, yeah.
the cylinders, and that's obviously
I want
the
that
place
shirt,
that I
man.
want to be.
Yeah.
Now that's going to take a bit of a while. It probably doesn't make particularly great watching, so I'm going to fast forward very shortly.
Thank you.
Just before I do that, though, I'm going to finish up letting you see me
can't
changing
feel my
the
ears from the
settings on my
headset
two
squeezing for hours.
handsets. You've just seen me do
Hold on.
the Rebreather handset on my left-hand side. You'll see me do the shear water on the right very shortly. It's really important that you do this. If I don't tell the computers what gas I'm breathing, then they won't know, and their decompression calculations, etc., will be based on whatever they think I'm breathing.
Right.
Now, what do you do
Clearly,
if you
that's-
didn't? You have to set up your computers before the dive to say that if you bail out,
Those
you would
are
have
available.
all of these various gases available.
That's right.
What if you forgot to do that?
Sorry.
Now you're going to have to be on the longer deco,
Yeah.
right? So you do the best you can. You're
Yeah.
not going to be on it until you run out of gas on that thing. So you just go as long as possible, as long as your computer said you could go, to the point where you'd be like, I got like 200 PSI left. I got to go up. I mean,
Yeah.
that's all you can do, right? Remember, you got your buddies.
That's not
just
a good
put
thing
things
to
in
do. So
perspective.
getting your computer set right is important.
Oh, I just
So
said that. We keep
that's
saying the
another
same
little
thing.
piece
It's
of the admin
unbelievable.
that goes
The
on.
whole video we've
Probably
been
also
saying the
worth
same
mentioning
things.
that
That's
when
cool.
I did that Ascent,
Yeah.
I
one of
swear
the
I
things
did not
needed
see
to
this
do
thing.
was,
Did I see
dump
this?
the gas in
No.
my counter lungs. So once I've shut the mouthpiece of my rebreather and I've got off the rebreather and got onto the open circuit gear, the gas in my rebreather will, inside the breathing loop, will expand when I ascend up through the water column. Pressure reduces, gas
burp it,
expands.
right?
Now, the only way that has got of getting out of the rebreather is if I happen to manually dump it, or if the pressure exceeds, or the volume exceeds the total volume, and therefore activates the
OPV.
overpressure valve. So, on a bailout ascent, it's really important for a diver to be thinking about what's happening with their rebreather
Excellent.
loop and dumping the gas.
This guy should be our Go instructor in the UK. He's really good.
He's very good.
He knows what he's doing.
I immediately want to give him a code to the Dive Talk Academy Go class because he's
awesome.
Every time I'm about to even think a thought, I'm like, oh.
got
I've
it.
already
He just
mentioned
said the same
the manual dumps that there are on the side of the
Really,
rebreather.
really good. This
And-
is a
and
great
for
class. I feel like we're just giving a
inspiration
whole
like
class
I'm
here.
diving
Yeah.
with back-mounted counter lungs. They are actually quite awkward to get
This
to. They're
could
quite
be
low.
something that new rebreather students
Should
may
watch.
want to watch this episode. I'm serious. Think about how many things we went through in this. It's good.
awesome.
It's a good one.
Down on your right-hand side. It's probably also not the best place to have a dump as well, because you want a dump to be high. So when you do dump it, you've got to kind of adjust your body position to get the dump at the highest point of the breathing loop. So it is a bit of
I
a
hope I
faff,
get
but
to
it
meet
can
him.
be
We're
done.
going to that
Right, you can see there that I've
convention, aren't we, in
I'm
Germany?
actually in the process
What?
of taking.
Boot show, yeah.
Bo-
or boat show.
Is that what'd you say?
I know. It was
Butcher? Butcher show?
Butcher, yeah. Billy Butcher.
Butcher.
Boat show.
Okay, we can't say where we're going to.
I
No.
just told you.
That's
I'm sorry you
Venezuela.
don't speak German.
Or I don't speak a
One of the
combo of German
cylinders,
and Venezuelan.
The
is what you're
deep
saying.
bailout has been put on the line. The other cylinder is the 100% is coming off the line and is coming onto me, and then I'll be in the configuration that I mentioned earlier on, and I'm all good. You can see that there's actually
By the way, to those people watching that don't speak German, you're welcome. I'm speaking on behalf of America.
Okay, thank you.
Right.
Oh,
a bit of a swell. I think you saw that before I got in, which is why everything moves up and down every now and again. It does make this a little bit more awkward. It means that your buoyancy control's got to be pretty good. So
swell up on
I'm
the
at 6
surface
metres.
of
I'm
the
not
boat could be
holding onto the
pulling you up
line
and
here.
down. You gotta be careful with that,
I'm
by the
just
way.
obviously
Yeah.
moving
You could easily be
cylinders
yanked
backwards
up like
and
10
forwards.
feet
Trying to do
below
it while
right
holding
by
on
your
the line
deco,
would
and you
be-
can
would be
get
quite
bent from
difficult.
that.
So
And also when you're getting on the boat, I've seen people destroy their shins when they're getting on the boat and here comes the ladder.
Bam.
Bang. Yeah.
Watch your
need to make
head
sure
and
you've got your
everything.
buoyancy sorted. And there you go. What I'm just doing there is checking that the that the deep bailout that I've put on the line is turned off. And the reason for that is because I don't want it to leak out. Deep bailout is mainly helium. Helium's expensive. Clearly, don't want it to leak out.
Right.
Don't want to lose it. That would be really up.
So he replaced at 6 meters at 20 feet. He replaced his helium, his Trimix bottle, with a 100% oxygen. So he took the 100% oxygen, put the Trimix on the line because they're going to pull it up from the boat, and close it. That's what he's saying. I don't want it by mistake to leak all the Trimix out. He didn't use it because he was on the rebreather all the way until he was able to use the 50%. So his deep bailout, which is the expensive one, the Trimix one, he didn't use at all. So that was good.
So the importance of me being near that drop line is now much less than it was. I don't really need that deep bailout anymore. What I do need is the gas that I've got on me. Having said that, there's still a big buoy on the top of it, and I do need the boat to know where I am, especially as I've rather foolishly become separated from the lazy shot and the other divers. So you can see there, I've unclipped the reel. I'm reeling up a bit. And what I'm then going to do is reattach it onto the line, but I'm slightly above the cylinder that was below me. Now what's going to happen is I've got an awful lot of deco to do. Now clearly that doesn't make for great video, so I'm going to fast forward again for a bit.
We can't watch all that.
And the reason I fast forward is not so I can show you more video of us decompressing at 4 meters, but because of that there.
What was that?
I don't know if you can see it, but those are dolphins.
Dolphins.
So
Dolphin
absolutely
show.
Fantastic, trying to see seeing dolphins on decompression stops is just awesome. Seeing dolphins on decompression stops while you're bailed out, well, that's just really special, isn't it? Poor old James there, who you probably saw they came up behind him. He says he absolutely almost lost it at that point, but it's great to see. And
probably more of them
they
would
did
have
momentarily liven up the deco stops. Unfortunately,
it's a shocker, right? They just show up all of a sudden. I don't know if you remember when we went last time to look for meg teeth in North Carolina, where they said during your deco stop, keep your eye out because several divers have reported a great white shark swimming by divers as they do their deco stop.
Yeah.
Man, as I look for teeth, I was more excited about, I want to get to my deco stop, see if I can spot a great white.
Right.
Most people are like, oh, you would have not go on the dive. No, I was, excited. I'm like, I hope they swim by me.
Would have been amazing.
Sadly, no great white.
Then left, and it was only that brief glimpse that we saw them for, but still a great experience. Fast forward again, and this is right towards the end of the dive, so done all the deco, cleared all the stops. James is still with me, good bloke that he is, and we're going to get to surface. You can probably see there's some red buoys just to be surfaced, and then the white buoy. The red buoys are the lazy shot. The white buoy is the gas that's been dropped in. The boat is over there as well. Yeah, so there's the
he filmed
red
this
buoys.
whole thing, man.
That's what I was saying. This camera is awesome.
Wow.
Whatever camera he used, I assume is
it's on his helmet, I guess.
Yeah, I assume is
GoPro. GoPro.
No. It probably wasn't a GoPro because it has the depth on it. It was probably like a Paralens. Company that doesn't
they're gone.
exist
They're
anymore.
completely gone.
It's probably like a Paralens Vaquita, if I had to guess.
Shot. There's the boat. They're obviously keeping a really good eye on us. They're really pleased to see me on the surface.
You would be giving the boat okay. All right,
you okay?
I'm okay.
Now,
I'm okay.
what I'm going to do is just to finish off, I'm just going to show you what the problem was.
This is the reason I had to
What?
That little hose there sticking.
Look at that.
You see, I'm going to pause it right here so you can see. See how it looks like a pinched O-ring type of thing?
That's significant.
That's big. Yeah.
But look how much water's in that thing. How is that thing not caustic? So whatever, that's a Revo?
Because they use that UK thing that doesn't cost. We keep getting their byproduct. Super caustic.
Just
garbage.
Because the king taxed us too much and we bailed from you for independence, give us a break.
Bro.
You don't have to burn my mouth off.
Enjoy working July 4th.
Just making sure that this O-ring didn't seal properly. And that's the result there.
Yeah.
Dang.
Clearly,
that's a lot.
but
You did great. You did great. You did great.
That was it. Wow.
Great video. He did great.
Yeah.
Great diver. Very well spoken. I really think that this is a class that I keep calling it a class. This is a video that would really come be very beneficial for new rebreather divers to watch. I think. I really do. I would have liked to have this when I was first learning.
Well, both, because again, we split this video in two because of the length. So this is the end of part 2 of this video, but I agree. They should go and watch both. And in case you haven't seen part 1, which is weird that you watch part 2 without watching part 1, I'm going to leave part 1 right here. Check it out. But man, Dom did a great job. This guy needs to be teaching the go in the UK, I think.
Dom, guess what happens on the go? You look down. It's got bubbles. Teach for us.